Sorry, I had to step away and go to the film bench. Hey, I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show. That was some beautiful silent footage of a soapbox derby race. Very short, though. I always wanted to have a soapbox derby, or really have a go-kart. I wanted a little car. I think a lot of kids wanted a little car back in the day. One that was not driven by pedals, but it had a little motor. So, of course, any amusement park ride where I could drive, like bumper cars, of course, super exciting. And then the little cars on the track where you have a brake and accelerator, all very exciting, until I started driving, and then those were like not a novelty anymore. We're watching 16mm films. We are AV Geeks, and I'm happy to you guys are joining us on this Friday afternoon. Here's a film. It's the title is clipped, but it's How to Be Well Groomed.
Where are you? He said he'd be a little late. Hey, do you look smooth?
Mighty elegant yourself, if I may say so.
Yes, indeed. Both Don and Sue look like the kind of people you'd like to know, don't they? Of course, right now, they're dressed for their Friday dates. But don't you have the feeling that they're always well...
Yes, and that's no accident. For Don and Sue, the question, how do I look, depends on good grooming habits. Health, posture, cleanliness, and neatness, plus a daily routine of little finishing touches. Take last night, for example. On weeknights, when there are no dates, there's few little things that make for a...
Hey, sis, haven't you finished with that yet?
You can have it in just a minute. Haven't you got anything else to do? Don, what are you doing in my sewing box?
Well, there's a loose button here.
Oh, all right, I'll fix it for you. That is, if you polish my shoes.
Well, I guess it's a deal. I have to polish my own. I might as well.
Aw, thanks.
Clothes pressed and mended, shoes polished. These are a few of the habits with which Don and Sue keep neat. And neatness is one of the fundamentals of grooming. So here's part of your big question, how do I look? Are my clothes neat and clean? Whether you do your own or achieve it by cooperative efforts, keep your clothes looking neat and clean.
And cleanliness and neatness apply to you as well as to your clothes. So after a cleansing, relaxing bath, that's a good daily habit, Sue has a regular and plan time, too, for the finishing touches, doing your nails, brushing your hair, and so on. Sue avoids red nail polish since it would call attention to her stubby hands. A clear polish keeps her nails sparkling. Once a week, Sue gives herself a complete manicure. Then daily care of her nails is easy. In the same way, regular shampoos and daily brushing keep her hair clean and glossy. And these finishing touches that add so much to Sue's cleanliness and neatness all fit into a simple schedule of daily activities. And now for at least 8 hours of sleep. Good health is the rule, for health is one of the foundations of your appearance.
Leave some hot water for me. And hurry, I'll have to shave.
What to wear? The weather has something to do with your choice of clothes. Don also thinks of other things. Most of his clothes are clean and pressed, so he's not as limited in selection. How about these slacks and this shirt? What do you think? How will Don look in this combination?
Let's hope he'll pay a little attention to patterns and colors.
How about this combination?
That's better. Now a tie to go with the outfit, and Don's all set.
Don is putting one more finishing touch to his appearance. A well-matched outfit of clothes. How will he look?
Good enough in that outfit.
And now another little habit of cleanliness and neatness. Dirt under your fingernails must be cleaned every day, and it's better in private.
All right, Don, you're next.
Now for a cleansing morning shower.
Meanwhile, Sue gives thought to the day. What will she wear? That depends on her activities, of course. For school, choose comfortable, not too dressy clothes. Perhaps a skirt and a blouse to go with it. But what about these two blouses? Which is more appropriate for school? Which goes with the skirt?
Fellows like to see girls dress up, but in general only for a special occasion.
Yes, choose clothes that are suitable to your needs and situation. But remember that any clothes look better with good posture. Now that her clothes are selected, Sue is ready to fix her hair. What to do with those curls she so carefully put in last night? It doesn't matter just what hairstyle you use, as long as it looks right on you. Upswept, loosely over the shoulders. Just be sure your hairdo suits you and that your hair is neatly in place.
And here's something else for your appearance. Eat a hearty, balanced breakfast. There's nothing like wholesome food to help keep you in good health.
And that means a clear complexion, shining eyes, glossy hair.
In short, that means a better appearance. Don's all set to look right at school, isn't he?
Mother, too, has a good appearance, even around the house, for that keeps up her spirits.
And Father dresses according to his work, relying on cleanliness and neatness as the foundations of his appearance. So, for each individual, the finishing touches of appearance may be his or hers alone, suited to individual needs, actions, ideas.
After breakfast, Sue goes back to her room for some finishing touches. Her makeup. Her powder is one that blends with her natural coloring. She pats it on lightly, then carefully smooths it over her face.
And be careful when it comes to lipstick.
Yes, choose a shade that goes with your own coloring and sets off your clothes to advantage. Then, best to leave only a smooth film of color, following the lines of your own lips. And finally, a last-minute once-over in the mirror. Make sure your hemline is even. Don't let your slip show.
Come on, we'll be late. Oh, boy, at the mirror again.
Well, the mirror could help you check those, too, and improve your posture.
Oh, Chausica, thanks. And I could straighten up, couldn't I? Well, let's hurry, or we'll be late.
Cultivate such habits as cleanliness and neatness, so you'll be well groomed.
For all through the day, others are looking at you. Your mirror tells you what others see. How do you look? How does Sue look?
How does Don look?
Health, posture, cleanliness, these grooming habits form the basis of a good, well-planned outfit of clothes. Well cared for hands and nails. Hairdo.
Oh, Stu, where are you?
In my room.
Joe called. He said he'd be a little late.
This is where Don and Sue go out for a pleasant evening. Their good grooming habits help them in friendships and in business. For your success depends a great deal on how you look.
Some of those are cornet cast characters, common people that we see show up in other films. I certainly could have used watching this film as a kid because I was a slob. I would say I'm still pretty schlubby because it's just not important to me. But what is important to me is soil conservation. And this beautiful color film, which is probably brought to us by the USDA, is all about that.
Where visions grace the sky, freedom shall bless the land. The story of the use of soil in our great nation during the past century is both disillusioning and challenging. Millions of acres have declined in productive capacity, have been lost. Soil improvement through good land use is a modern vision, a new frontier challenging America. Yes, the earth is good to us if we are good to it. Fertile soil produces better crops, and better crops mean more nutritious foods, a healthier people, and greater prosperity for us all. Over 14,000 banks supply this greatest single industry with credit and other banking facilities. These banks are backed by the Federal Reserve System, with its 12 regional banks and their 24 branches throughout the United States. The Country Bank on the corner of Main Street, USA, is there to serve and help build a strong America by maintaining a productive agriculture. Let's look in on such a country bank. This bank, like hundreds of others in the 4th Federal Reserve District, is a symbol of the financial stability and strength of the surrounding area. The steady flow of customers is indicative of the bank's importance in the community. Its many banking services are designed to meet the financial needs of Mr. and Mrs. America. Business thrives in this community in direct proportion to the productivity of the soil and the know-how of the men who till it. The smooth flow of farm produce to market and of equipment and supplies to the farm is made possible by cooperation between the farmer and his banker. Farming is a business where short-term loans to be repaid after the harvest are common. However, this farmer is discussing another type of loan. He's seeking credit to finance capital improvements and to buy mechanized equipment. The banker must be well informed on farm operations in order to work out a sound plan that will be advantageous to all concerned. The Here's an example of how bank credit, wisely used, has helped to build a successful farm. Attractive buildings, modern machinery. Excellent crops, green pastures, and fine woodlands. All these are the fruits of progressive farm planning. What you do not see is the hidden wealth of the soil, without which all this prosperity would be impossible. Soil to be productive must be protected against erosion, must be revitalized by constant replacement of the mineral elements. And too, soil must be used to give a maximum return. This means the application of soil conservation measures to assure continued high productivity. Like any other thing of value, topsoil must be protected. Its chief enemies are wind and water. Wind which scatters it aloft, and water which washes it away into rivers and oceans. An idea of the loss caused by water erosion may be gained from this test plot, where soil to the depth of nearly 2 feet has been carried away, has been lost by the runoff of surface water. Water damage may be even more severe, like these deep hillside gullies, or this cornfield where valuable land has been lost by surface drainage. But whether it be cropland or pasture, the answers to erosion by water are at hand. How? Well, contour farming provides a practical solution. Going around instead of up and down the hill makes it easier for the machine as well as the man. Alternate strips of cultivated and sod crops on the contour stop the loss of soil from erosion. For example, this contour planting of parsnips aids in controlling surface runoff. Rows of crops on many farms no longer extend up and down the hill, making plowing and cultivation difficult. Instead, they follow around it, and fences follow the contour rather than in straight lines. Even berries are grown on the contour, and the sod mulch prevents serious erosion by runoff. From the moment the plow turns a furrow in the spring until the crop is harvested in the fall, contour farming is the answer. Thousands of farms are acquiring the new look. The patchwork pattern of square fields that invites erosion is giving way to a new soil-saving design. More and more crops are growing in swirling strips and flowing contours that hug precious topsoil in place. Today, the American farmer is protecting his acreage of cropland by building terraces. These may be constructed with ordinary farm equipment. Once the contour line has been established, the farmer continues to plow until he has built a terrace which will hold surface water without the damaging effects of erosion. As a rule, newly constructed terraces should be fertilized, seeded, and mulched immediately. This reduces soil loss caused by excessive rainfall. Provision must be made to carry off water, which contour strips and terraces collect. Sod waterways constructed along natural drainage slopes do this. Here's an example of what may be done. This field had been damaged so seriously by erosion that the owner wondered whether it would be possible to grow tobacco on it again. He solved the problem and saved the land with terraces, contour cropping, and sod waterways. These 3 steps have restored the land to productivity, increased yearly income, and added to the value of the farm. On steep slopes, a good method of arresting erosion is to plant special types of deep-rooted grasses, which make excellent pasture land. For good pasturing is the key to profitable farming. It's the easiest and cheapest way to feed livestock. The extensive root system of grasses, clovers, and alfalfas conditions the topsoil and revitalizes it. On this hillside, a legume grass mixture has replaced brome sedge and wild blackberries. When soil is unsuited to other uses, reforestation offers a profitable solution. Here is a farm woods that is giving the owner a return on his investment. Woods can also correct serious erosion problems. Development of woodlots is the most profitable use for many acres of unproductive land. This excellent under canopy of seedlings will be a source of continuing harvest. Yes, the earth is good to us if we are good to it. Soil losses like these are seriously damaging. But a type of soil deterioration, which may be even more destructive, is the gradual depletion of organic matter. Failure to provide a balance through crop rotation between sod crops such as legumes and grasses, which add organic matter, and cultivated crops such as corn and tobacco, which reduce it, penalizes the farmer severely. In contrast with this corn, which grew only 2 feet high on land where corn was grown continuously, look at this corn, which stood over 6 feet tall on the same date, grown under identical conditions, except that crop rotation was practiced. Over a period of years, for every ear of corn grown on the continuous plot, 4 were grown where rotation was practiced. More than sunshine, rain, and proper temperatures are needed to keep the good earth bountiful. Crops become more valuable when sufficient quantities of organic material have been put back into the soil. Crop rotation permits the necessary chemical and bacterial actions to take place. Many farmers keep their soil in high productivity by using a crop rotation, starting with a meadow, followed by a cultivated crop such as corn, a small grain crop like oats, then a meadow again for 1 or 2 years. On croplands where rotation of cultivated and sod crops is not practical, winter cover crops such as wheat and vetch, rye or rye grass are often plowed down to restore needed organic matter. Dense stands of sod crops are also used because they add nitrogen to the soil. When plowed under, they encourage the development of a soil structure which breaks up easily, drains readily, and is well aerated. Because of this invigorating effect upon the soil, farmers favor the use of sod-forming grass for soil improvement regardless of the topography of the land. Actually, in rolling terrain, legume grass mixtures have another important advantage in that their roots hold the earth in place, absorb water, and so help to control erosion. Bird's foot trefoil, so called because of the shape of its seed pod, is being used to enrich the soil in areas where alfalfa or other perennial legumes are not suitable. Most field crops are unable to use plant nutrients efficiently if grown in soils deficient in calcium. The application of lime is frequently one of the prime requisites of soil improvement. A common practice is to apply it on oat or wheat stubble or to hay meadows prior to the planting of corn. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash are essential, and soil which is high in all 3 produces luxuriant crops. Proof that soil conservation pays is shown in this field of corn deprived of nitrogen. Failure to provide sufficient nitrogen retards growth and reduces the yield. Crop yields are affected by a lack of phosphorus, a deficiency which causes a reddish bronzing of the leaf. Potash, too, must be present in sufficient amounts, or the yield and quality of corn and other crops will be low. When potash deficiency is severe, a yellowing of the leaf margin occurs. For best growth, you must have not only the basic elements, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash, but also traces of such elements as manganese, copper, boron, and others. In order to obtain high crop yields, whether it be hay, corn, oats, tobacco, fruit, or root crops, the soil must first be supplied with organic matter, second, must contain essential plant nutrients, and third, the soil must be well drained. How often have you seen a field like this? Lack of drainage may be just as harmful to crop growth as excessive erosion caused by rapid runoff. Tile, well laid and properly maintained, provides good drainage for years. In many cases, the increase in crops harvested has been sufficient in 4 to 5 years to repay the cost of installing the tile. The golden rule of harvesting is cut it at the right moment. The golden rule of profitable farming restore what the harvests have taken. High yields obtained from fields where soil conservation measures are applied not only mean more farm income, but high yields are also the basis for a sound, prosperous farm community. Profitable farming involves adapting modern practices to soil types, topography, and other factors. Farmers frequently seek the advice of trained men. The county agent conducts educational programs in his district. He reviews plans for such meetings with the local Soil Conservation Board, members of which are elected by the farmers to direct the work of the district. Applications for farm plans are considered by the district board. Suggested farm plans with maps are discussed at regular monthly meetings. As soon as possible, the farm planner calls and explains the soil conservation measures which have been recommended. One of the problems under consideration on this farm is how a sod waterway may be constructed to carry away the surface water which bypassed a tile drain and cut an open ditch through the cropland. Much of the basic research being conducted at the state agricultural experiment stations is providing new and up-to-date solutions to field problems brought in by agricultural agents, farm planners, and farmers. In addition, the various state agricultural colleges train the farmers of tomorrow in modern farm practices. They also disseminate timely information through educational meetings, bulletins, and news stories. This information benefits both farmers and consumers all over America. The farmer's greatest asset is the topsoil. To aid him in establishing a proper program, the farmer may send samples of his soil to the nearest soil testing laboratory. So that samples will be representative of the area, they are taken at several points in the field. When the samples arrive at the laboratory, they are opened, pulverized to facilitate testing, and then placed in identifying boxes. The first test is to determine the soil acidity. This indicates whether the soil is low in calcium. From this test, it is possible to determine whether lime is needed, and if so, the amount required. The next step in the laboratory procedure is to determine the organic content of the soil. Then a test is made to find out how much available phosphorus is needed. Finally, the amount of available potash is recorded. The results of the test, together with recommendations, are sent to the farmer who submitted the soil samples. Along with the farmers, bankers too have long been aware of the importance of good farming. Only in recent years have they had opportunity for organized study of the practices which are fundamental to successful farming. Bankers' associations have joined with agricultural colleges to plan and sponsor field meetings to describe and demonstrate new developments in agricultural practice. This close cooperation is leading to new patterns in farming. Yes, soil improvement and wise land use are good business. They increase productivity while protecting and improving the farmer's basic asset, the soil. Modern conservation practices are paying off on thousands of farms throughout the nation, and this prosperity is reflected in more business activity on Main Street, USA. The Country Banker is working closely with farmers in fostering good business by encouraging and helping to establish sound soil improvement practices. The growing success of the American farmer in making soil conservation pay is an encouraging sign for more than 150 million Americans who depend upon the soil for food. So let's go forward, confident that where visions grace the sky, freedom shall bless the land.
Oops. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah. I'm using an earlier version of OBS to accommodate the audio not dropping out. But in doing so, I don't have a timer for the film, so kind of caught in this catch-22 situation. Like, do I go with a newer software? I don't know. Anyways, I apologize for that. So we've got some more films that were donated by someone in Raleigh who was moving and didn't want to throw them out, and so gave me email. And so these are more movie trailers, and I think these are more from the 60s and 70s. Or at least the first two were. So here we go. Enjoy.
All this dough, 350 G's. It's in this box, buried under this. Every man for himself.
They came by air, by land, by sea, by bicycle. And along the way, they picked up a few enemies. And along the way, they picked up a few bruises. But none of them were gonna let anything stand in their way. Nothing. Not anything. Not even each other. Because with all that money at stake, a man can rise above any obstacle. All of which proves very little, except it's a mad, 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 mad world. Rated G.
Mad, mad world, take 3.
In my opinion, the whole world has gone mad. Just look at the congestion on our highways. The terrible conditions of our air traffic control center. The wanton destruction of private property. The senseless waste of our natural resources. In short, it's a mad, 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 mad world. Rated G.
Take 4, 26.
If ever this mad, 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 mad world needed a mad, 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 mad world, it's now. It's a mad, 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 mad world. Rated G.
The Magnificent Seven are back for a reunion of vengeance and violence south of the border.
I've got pardons here, signed by the governor for each of you. When I countersign them, you'll be free men.
Well, then sign them.
You're gonna earn them first.
How?
Join a posse I'm leading.
Who are we going after?
Juan de Toro.
Pardons, hell. That's 7 against 70. You're taking us in there to get killed.
Each man a specialist in violence. Together a total weapon of destruction. Pepe the outlaw, a hot-blooded lover and a cold-blooded killer. Walt the giant, with the strength of 10 men and the mind of a child. Hayes the soldier, he learned to kill in the army, and now it's the only thing he knows. Elliot the engineer, if he builds it, it stays built. If he blows it, it stays blown. Skinner the killer, they put him away for life and let him out for death. Noah the writer, he came for the story and wrote it with lead bullets. Chris the marshal, his men were all killers. That's why he locked them up, and that's why he turned them loose.
Plan a series of charges in these pits.
These are single shots, Chris. We need repeaters.
Those target rifles have got range. So we use those on the first line.
And official police riot guns.
Now, when they're about 300 yards away, we start falling back to the second line.
Winchester rifle, caliber 30-40.
We'll make the Winchester line. Right here.
Model 1885.
Wires, charges.
Strong as you can. Let's get more men. 7's always been my lucky number.
The Magnificent Seven are back, doing their number. They put their lives on the line and let it ride.
Now, America's two most electrifying actors appear together for the first time. Marlon Brando, Jack Nicholson, The Missouri Breaks.
Lee Clayton, Medicine Hat, Wyoming.
I'm, Tom Logan. Understand you had some rustling problems.
Yeah! Adios, amigo.
We ain't gonna do it because I said we ain't gonna do it!
And you come under the head of what I do for a living.
Where's your cabbage-shooting Mexican pistola with flowers on the handle, Robert Lee? Why don't you go get it?
Marlon Brando.
Well, that settles it.
Jack Nicholson.
Get off! Get off!
The Missouri Breaks. Rated PG. Marlon Brando.
And you come under the head of what I do for a living.
Jack Nicholson.
Where's your Creedmoor at, Robert Lee?
The Missouri Breaks.
Where's your cabbage-shooting Mexican pistola with flowers on the handle, Robert Lee? Why don't you go get it?
Marlon Brando.
Well, that settles it.
Jack Nicholson.
Get off!
The Missouri Breaks. Rated PG. Now, America's two most electrifying actors appear together for the first time. Marlon Brando, Jack Nicholson, The Missouri Breaks. One steals, one kills,
Adios, amigo.
one dies. Marlon Brando, Jack Nicholson, The Missouri Breaks. Rated PG. Marlon Brando.
Lee Clayton, Medicine Hat, Wyoming. Here on business.
Jack Nicholson.
Tom Logan. Understand you had some rustling problems.
The Missouri Breaks.
We ain't gonna do it because I said we ain't gonna do it!
One steals, one kills, one dies. The Missouri Breaks. Rated PG. Last year, Billy Jack became one of the most popular pictures of our time. Walking Tall was applauded by audiences across the nation. Now, Charles Bronson is Mr. Majestyk in a movie that touches the hero in all of us. Vincent Majestyk was an ordinary man. He wanted to work his farm, live his life, mind his business, but they wouldn't let him.
I don't think I know you.
Come over from La Junta with some top hand pickers.
Hire who I want.
Yeah, well, you see, you want me.
They frightened his workers.
Tell them they don't work here anymore.
They threw him in jail. They destroyed his crops. They forced him to become what he never meant to be, a hero. Why are they calling Mr. Majestyk the one movie you must see this year? Ask anyone who's seen it. Anyone. Charles Bronson is Mr. Majestyk, rated PG. Charles Bronson is Mr. Majestyk, an ordinary man who was forced to become a hero. Why are they calling Mr. Majestyk the one movie you must see this year? Ask anyone who's seen it. Anyone. Charles Bronson is Mr. Majestyk in a movie that touches the hero in all of us. Rated PG. Last year, Billy Jack became one of the most popular pictures of our time. Walking Tall was applauded by audiences across the country. This year, Mr. Majestyk has been called the one movie you must see. Why? Ask anyone who's seen it. Anyone. Charles Bronson is Mr. Majestyk in a movie that touches the hero in all of us. Rated PG.
It was 1945. The war was over, and the world was falling in love again. Liza Minnelli, Robert De Niro, New York, New York.
Look, you want me to leave?
Yes.
I'll leave right now.
Bye.
You expect me to leave after the way you talked to me just now?
Liza Minnelli, Robert De Niro, New York, New York. Rated PG.
Someday he'll come along, the man I love.
Liza Minnelli, Robert De Niro, New York, New York. She was a singer. He was a sax man. It was beautiful while it lasted.
Did I tell you to have that baby? No, I didn't tell you. You had it. Now you have it. Now keep it.
New York, New York. Rated PG.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I wanna be a part of it. New York, New York.
Liza Minnelli, Robert De Niro, New York, New York. Rated PG.
He's back again. Peter Sellers as Inspector Clouseau. In The Pink Panther Strikes Again.
Mark my words, Francois. Sinister forces are at work.
Never before have his senses been sharper. His reflexes quicker. His tactics trickier. His disguises so ingenious.
It's Dr. Shantz from the village.
Never before has his mind been more brilliant. His women more beautiful. His enemies more evil.
No!
See Peter Sellers as Inspector Clouseau in his latest, greatest, most baffling case. The Pink Panther Strikes Again. Rated PG.
Mark my words, Francois. Sinister forces are at work.
Never before have his senses been sharper. His reflexes quicker. His tactics trickier. See Peter Sellers as Inspector Clouseau in his latest, most baffling case. The Pink Panther Strikes Again. Rated PG.
I expect you're all wondering why I asked you here.
Never before has his mind been more brilliant. His enemies more evil.
No!
His disguises so ingenious.
It's Dr. Shantz from the village.
See Peter Sellers as Inspector Clouseau. The Pink Panther Strikes Again. Rated PG. Why have the world's deadliest assassins joined forces?
I brought them together to destroy the most dangerous man in the world. That incredible idiot. Inspector Jacques Clouseau.
See Peter Sellers as Inspector Clouseau. The Pink Panther Strikes Again. Rated PG. Behind the walls of this ancient fortress, a madman has created a doomsday machine. He has threatened to destroy the world, unless the world destroys Inspector Clouseau. Will this be the end of the world's greatest detective? To find out, see Peter Sellers in The Pink Panther Strikes Again, rated PG.
In the not-too-distant future, wars will no longer exist, but there will be Rollerball. Imagine a world without nations.
A few of us making decisions on a global basis.
Controlled by corporations.
No sickness, no needs, and many luxuries.
A society that has abolished love and hate, aggression and individuality, and replaced them with the most fantastic entertainment of all time. Televised to 2 billion hypnotized viewers. It is more than a game. It is Rollerball. James Caan, John Houseman, Rollerball. Rated R. In the not-too-distant future, wars will no longer exist, but there will be Rollerball. Imagine a world without nations, a society that has abolished love and hate, aggression and individuality, and replaced them with the most fantastic entertainment of all time. Rollerball. Rated R. It made him a hero in a future without heroes. It made him a man of action in a world of spectators. It made him an individual in an age of conformity. It's more than a game. It is Rollerball. James Caan, John Houseman, Rollerball. Rated R. In the not-too-distant future, they will produce a war every week. They will televise it during prime time to the rest of the world. They will call it Rollerball. A fantastic game, an incredible film, an awesome view of the future. Rollerball. Rated R. It made him a hero in a future without heroes.
No player is greater than the game itself.
It made him a man of action in a world of spectators.
You can be made to quit. You can be forced.
It made him an individual in an age of conformity.
Can't make me quit.
You can be stopped! It is more than a game. It is Rollerball. Rated R. In the not-too-distant future, wars will no longer exist, but there will be Rollerball.
Games created to demonstrate the futility of individual effort. Champion defeats the meaning, then he must lose.
It is more than a game. It is Rollerball. Rated R. His name is Jonathan E. He's handsome, strong, and violent. He's the greatest rollerball player who ever lived.
If I could love you, I would.
James Caan is Jonathan E. in Rollerball.
You're the only person I ever wanted.
Rollerball. Rated R.
You get the point. I think there's one more Rollerball commercial on there, but we got the gist of Rollerball. I think it's interesting that Roger Corman saw all this advanced promotion for Rollerball and like quickly rolled out Death Race 2000 to kind of capitalize on that. And Death Race 2000 is a lot more entertaining in my mind. But yeah. They're both great movies. I mean, they're great 70s kind of dystopian look to the near future. of sports and distractions for the populace under a totalitarian rule. And with Rollerball, it's all about corporations, all the big corporations that control the world. Thanks everybody for tuning in today and this week. We'll be back on Monday. If you like what you saw, you can certainly buy us some coffee. That is the commodity that we exchange in here at AV Geeks. That and USB 3 cables. We have a lot of those. Also, you can go to avgeeks.com and buy DVDs and watch other shows that we've done in the past and other films that we've digitized in the past. Literally thousands and thousands of things. And you can tell the world that you like us by hitting like, subscribe, ringing the notification bell, comments, etc. I think hitting like actually increases the visibility of what we do on Facebook and YouTube. So when people are like stumbling across things, they're like, oh, this is well liked. I'm going to suggest this. So, you know, the reason we do this, besides watching the films, is to get new eyeballs on the films. And we love our core group of people that have been following us for since last March. But I'd love to open it up more and get more eyeballs, get more people watching this stuff, because it's a lot of fun, as you guys know. And so maybe we'll try to do an invite a friend over the summer to get more people watching. Anyways, everybody have a good rest of your day, and please rewind and love each other, and we will see you again on Monday. Everybody take care.